while you're out there really working your fingers to the bone, doing lots of performances, feeling overworked, abused, my advice is get used to it. That's what the profession is all about. Many of us in this organization have done exactly what you're doing. Some of us were singers. I began my career as a singer back in 1967, and I did in Australia what they call country tours. We would perform in Sydney and Melbourne, and then we'd go out into the bush for 3 months, singing in shearing sheds and putting up our own lights, putting up our own sets. So I know what you go through. And I also know it's one of the most rewarding experiences because it helps you decide whether you should go back to selling shoes or not. And there are some very good shoe shops in San Diego with many former ensemble people running them. So,
Actually, it's funny because I became a singer by accident. I've been playing piano since I was 6 years old, and music had always been a part of my life. But I never really considered going into the arts. I had sung in church choirs my whole life, and I'd done like school productions. But I was a junior in college at UCSD, and I was studying communications. And I decided that on a whim, I wanted to start taking voice lessons. I just wanted to learn how to sing Happy Birthday at a party and not sound bad.
And I said, well, what kind of music have you been singing? Do you like to sing? She told me, I love to sing just with the radio. I sing in the shower, so on and so forth. I said, really? I heard this voice the instant she opened her mouth at that age and with absolutely no training whatsoever. I said, well, what about musical theater? Can we move up a little bit from pop music on the radio? So she went through something from Phantom of the Opera. And I asked her, I said, well, have you ever listened to opera? Do you know anything about opera? Oh, no, I don't really know anything about it.
Opera? You must be kidding. So she gave me some arias, and I had never really listened to opera. I didn't know anything about opera. I myself had the stereotypical image of the horned lady singing her lungs out. And when she started giving me arias to sing, I really loved it. It was just amazing. It was like a light had gone on in my head. After a couple of months of doing that, I knew that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
That was consistent. That's what you ended up at the end. It sounded that way.
I auditioned for the opera chorus after 2 years of voice lessons. And they were very encouraging and very supportive, and I actually got the part as an extra chorister in their production of Aida, which I was just amazed. I mean, it was a humongous production. There were hundreds of people in it. And it was just an overwhelming experience, and that was the clincher. I knew I was on the right track. I auditioned for the ensemble last year, and I got a very nice letter saying, you've got some work to do, but you have a lot of talent, and please come back and audition next year and just work on your voice. And so I did, and then I auditioned this year, and I was just so happy. I mean, I feel so privileged to be a part of this group.
Learn to accommodate that. A lot of singers who come into the ensemble are ready for that next step. They've been in education programs in various companies. They might have just come straight from college, but they have genuine talent. And what we try to do then is give them that bridge between the college experience and the full-time opera experience of being a soloist with a company. So in the ensemble, they get to work a great deal, they get to work in a lot of different situations, they have to learn a lot of music and learn it frequently very, very quickly, and then perform at their best, whether they're tired, whether they want to, whether they think they should or shouldn't, and it really teaches them what the profession's about.
They spend 25 weeks with us. We pay them, we arrange to have them housed, so they have a place to live, so their expenses are low, so they can actually save money while they're doing this show for 25 weeks. And as I said, we also give them lots of encouragement and support so that they can grow as artists.
The rules of the theater are not moralistic or restrictive, they are pragmatic, made for the sole purpose of making the cooperative venture of the theater a workable creative reality. Rule number 1, be healthy. Theater is a strenuous activity. Stay in shape. It does no one any good if you're sick at home in bed while the show rehearses and performs. It also does no one any good if you make everyone else sick. So, number 3, leave your outside life at the door. Theater is a community event. The welfare of the community must be protected and promoted if theater is to happen. Don't depress the spirit of the community. Rehearsal is not the place to socialize or psychoanalyze. Use some other venue outside of the rehearsal process to deal with personal problems. Go all the way in your efforts. Work. If you don't know that those are the rules of the game, welcome to the theater. If you know them and you are the callow sophisticate laughing at Judy's tiny head, you can just leave that and you're under control and you'll be fine. But if we do this as a unit, and if we make it as a unit, we'll make better work and we'll have a better experience, and you will make strides in your growth as artists, which is what I want you to do. I want you to say, I learned a lot when I did that ensemble game. God, it was hard, but boy, did I learn.
What I thought we'd do today, I think I mentioned this already, is run through OperaFest first, just to kind of, so everyone can kind of hear everyone else sing. Everyone has an opera and OperaFest. And then we will get a start on working on the ensembles. As Jack has told you, there's not a whole lot of time for rehearsals, so we should, even though we're going to try in these 3 days to at least run through everything, we will try to do some real rehearsing, and it might be the first and the last real rehearsing we do for a while. There will always be the option of pick-up rehearsals once staging is done, once we get into the touring situation. So if at any time I or any of you feel like, this trio, which was great, is now getting a little sloppy, the Cinderella stuff goes at the speed of light or something like that, we can always take extra time to just kind of whip it back into shape.
You must believe in yourself. If you remember these 3 things, the rest is simple.
There are thousands of people out there who would love to have the talent and voice you have. Why don't we ask Orpheus for a bit of magic so that we can finish our piece?
We need your voice so we can continue.
What are we waiting for?
I'm afraid I regress into an Indian accent as time goes by.
Is this where we have a dip? I think we do. Yeah. When she finishes singing low, you sweep her across and dip her down across. No. You're going to go across and you're going to dip back. You're going to go back. Yes, but that's the other way, Judy. You turn around back. No, turn around. Turn around now.
I'm soft.
Turn around. I know. Turn around. And that's where you want to get. Okay? Yeah. Oh my God! Oh, great! Good for you.
Thank you very much. So
been inflamed by the low singing, and then he comes over here and makes, he's Don Jose. He's Don Jose.
Okay, so turn like this.
That's right. Now, and Vampire. That's right. There you go, that's it.
Have you seen that?
All right. Thank you. I'm going to put this ridiculous hat on.
We cut 2 minutes off the show, guys. That's the best prize I can give you.
Beautiful singing, wonderful ensemble. Thank you very much. It's great. It's a whole new show.
I think it's very important that you realize that these young performers have digested, for all intents and purposes, 6 opera programs because of the stretcho and shorto of the various and sundry things we do in the brief time that we've had together. And I personally, as a director, am very proud of their work habits and how much they've accomplished in the brief time that we've had together. I think they're making more than just a stab at what they're doing, and it is my deep hope that you enjoy what you see. You are going to be dealing with middle school and high school audiences that are going to be squirrely. There's no 2 ways about it. You, to some degree, must have invisible shields of Gardol about you. Now, I don't mean that I want you to not play to the audience or be afraid of them. You mustn't. And sometimes there'll be stuff that they would take off on that you will have no idea at all about what it is that is striking them funny. And you will be looking at your crotch and checking your zipper and doing whatever it is that you can to try and figure out what it is that is getting this big reaction. Slower. Very good letter biz, girls. Much better. Oh, yes. And the whole routine of the second time where you're matching the letters, that worked today for the first time.
Which part is that?
The second time where you're talking about the letters and you're seeing that your letter matches hers. All of that worked like gangbusters today.
Oh.
It was just very clear and very good and very deft and right on the beat. It was very good. Much better, Preeti, your contact with Gay. It was the difference of night and day. The hamper exit was excellent, guys. Just right. Very good. Good, nice entrance from you, Chris. Good energy coming on there. And hard to skip around the... Now, Preeti, I'm going to make you self-conscious, but one place today and one place alone, we had Mistress Page from Bombay. Oh, I'm very sorry to be saying this. She is very, very international. I know she's international, but there. Oh, Mr. Ford. Oh, I tell you, I am telling you, it was as bad as burning the tandoori chicken. I don't want to make you self-conscious about it.
Could be after that.
Yeah, it's just in that one place in that speech. That's the only place, but all of a sudden, she channeled to her roots.
There's a place in Bombay called Opera House. And when I started going into opera and I learned about this place from my grandparents, I got so excited. I thought, wow, there is a place that performs opera here in Bombay. So I was asking them, so do you get opera at this place called Opera House? What? What's opera? It's just called Opera House. It's just the name that they've come to know it by, but they don't know what it means. Because when the British were there, they had built these places for their entertainment, for opera and plays and productions to come through. And once they left, those kinds of things weren't there anymore. I mean, except for the Indian classical arts and Indian performances and that kind of thing, but not Western opera. So there's a place called Opera House and nobody knows what it means. So it kind of shows the exposure that a lot of my relatives have had to opera. One of the hardest things for me early on was telling my parents that this was the field I wanted to go into. This was after a few years of voice lessons, when I wanted to quit my job and study full-time. And I knew I was going to need their financial support and their help and their emotional support, because I knew this wouldn't be easy, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, because I knew that this wasn't something that is really done here in Indian families. The greatest immigration of Indians happened in the early 70s to this country, and I was born in 72, so I was kind of the first generation of Indian kids growing up in America, and our parents were the immigrant generation. So I see a lot of similarity in our families in that there's a very immigrant mentality of survival, of going into fields of business that will support you and a family, that you won't be hungry, that you'll be able to live in this country, and you won't be in need or want of anything. It isn't always encouraged to make the arts and the humanities your career of choice, but as something of a hobby or maybe something you do on the side, because it's not something that, it's a high risk for a lifestyle. And I knew that I was coming up against this way of thinking.
So I have to be honest, and when she says she wanted to do that, I said, forget it, no way. You're gonna go study a master's and you select communication. Go further with that, none of this, singing business. Then she was adamant. And so I said, okay, give you 2 years to prove yourself. See if other people think you have what you think you like to do. And she did. So I said, fine, we'll keep you around for a while. Yeah.
But in retrospect though, 2 years really isn't any amount of time to be able to prove yourself in the world of opera. I just got lucky that I got in the chorus very quickly, because I remember Maestro Miller saying in a master class that it takes about 7 years to develop a strong vocal technique. So I just got very lucky that things started happening in a few years.
Well, you could remember.
But realistically, Dad, I mean, people who are studying opera, nothing would really happen.
I'm an engineer by nature, right? By education.
Right.
I don't believe in all these things.
Right.
It's very hard for us to, we are black and white engineering, either this or that. In between is pretty tough, and especially in the field that we can't even help us, have no idea how to help our kids, how to get ahead. And that's our culture is, parents always help kids to get ahead. And in this one I said, you're on your own, because it's just impossible.
That's true.
But she did it. She sits at night on the internet and gets all this information.
My dad and mom became season subscribers for those first 2 years I was in the chorus, and I'm so proud of them. And they stayed awake for most of the opera. Now, all of a sudden in the Indian community, they've known me. This is little Preeti. They've known me since I was a little kid, and all of a sudden she's singing in public somewhere. Well, we have to go see her. It was a novelty at first, but now they're getting interested in opera. My aunties and uncles, all of a sudden, they don't know anything about opera. Italian, I mean, it's not in English. So now they want to come and see it. And they're learning more about it. And now all of a sudden, Bocelli. All of a sudden, I mean, my dad went to go see Andrea Bocelli at Hollywood Bowl just a month ago. I couldn't believe it. And the mezzo was singing Una Voce. My dad comes home and he says, Preeti, there was a mezzo who sang that song that you sing, Una voce poco fa. I mean, this is a big growth for my family.
In this business, either you are extremely good and do well, or you're going to be just a mediocre and,
Starving artist.
Starving artist, just like 99% of them are. So.
Was there any one point in the last 2 years when you really realized, both of you for the first time, that maybe there really is something to what she's doing?
About a little over a year ago. And finally, when finally she started doing her own, and people, she was getting more and more singing opportunities, and especially talking to her teachers.
In all my years of teaching, there have been a handful of singers that I could actually say they had a natural gift of the voice. And I said, you're one of them. And one other boy I sent on, and he has a career and a wonderful tenor. And I said, I really think you can do something with this with this sound. You've got to work very hard and, do what I tell you to do. Yes, much better. Okay, watch. Yeah,
those A sharps.
A sharps, and remember, it's first A sharp. Think a little more sharp. Yeah, you're going down to the A both times. Same place, almost the same place. I try to work with her strictly from a technical, a sound point of view, what I'm hearing in her sound that I believe we can work on to improve the quality of sound, to get her sound to be more consistent from the top to the bottom of the range, where you don't hear breaks in the voice going through the passaggio, working a lot on vowels, evening out all of her vowels. Hold your vowels out a little bit longer. I want to hear longer vowels in general throughout the whole piece. So even when you have andiam, andiam, not andiam, andiam. She started off doing the soprano roles, and at one point I thought, she has such a rich, low voice, and it was a big sound down there. And I thought, you know, let's start working on some mezzo things. I don't feel it can do any harm. And I hate to say this, but there are a lot of sopranos out there, and this may put you on the map a little bit more than the dime a dozen sopranos. Okay, almost. I like that you've got it. The andiamo was perfect. You're saying this over and over, so you keep it consistent. Consistency in your sound. She just has a great love for opera, and working on her connection with the body and working through her middle range, which has been her nemesis, I would say. She's not happy with it, but it's improving constantly. I like that one.
That felt good.
That was beautiful, Preeti. Much more even through the top, through that middle and middle high. Much more. Your middle high was always right on, but
it's just that middle part. I mean, I can still feel the insecurity in that middle range, but it feels like I'm not manufacturing something there anymore.
No.
It feels like
that's your true voice there now.
It's sort of coming out.
Well, but it's going to take a little time. Remember we were talking about yesterday about the triple axels that the skaters miss for how many times. She's so wonderful to teach because you tell her to do something and she does it. It isn't something you have to repeat over and over. She understands. She's an intelligent singer, and that also makes my job so rewarding.
Una voce poco fa, qui nel cor mi risuonò.
Why are you walking?
I have no idea.
You don't need to walk. I just want to break your habit on it.
I know. God, I picked up that habit this year. I started roaming around during my arias.
That is
terrible.
It's you know what, the audience is going with you. Where is she going?
Well, Laurie is working just with her vocal placement and the sound. And I'm sure Laurie works interpretively with her. But mine it's vocal interpretation always. Mine is the visual and the feeling. I think it's all it has to come first from feeling it. I don't believe in gestures unless they're felt.
Feeling the feeling of Carmen, the fun of her and the sensuality of her, and then feel the little, wow, I'm gonna get that guy, and Dalila, all your different things. Get the feeling, and then just sing the first phrase, and then go to the next one. It's like improv for actors. They'll do stuff like that where they'll go from one thing to another. It's like it's what it is getting in touch with your emotions and feeling them, experiencing them, and then they come out through the sound. And that's what colors the sound, is the emotions and the feelings, not...
I was drawn to teaching opera singers because I feel that they don't appreciate that performing is first of all visual, and that people hear what they see. And I've been very excited with working with singers and teaching them the visual along with the vocal. And that's something that I've done with Preeti. When she came to me 3 years ago, she had just been studying voice for several years, and the voice was developing, but she didn't use her body. She sang with her vocal cords. And I feel that you sing with your whole body.
Having a visual. L'amour, 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 whatever.
Okay.
Movement has to go with the whole mood of the music. A Rosina will move differently than a Carmen.
L'amours without sound, and then I would stand.
Okay.
Because it's more.
Once you feel the character inside, it colors the voice. You don't have to do anything. And then the composer tells you exactly what emotion he wants. The music will tell you, or the text will tell you. And that's the way I'm training Preeti, and she is evolving just wonderfully. She feels her Carmen isn't there yet, but you can see it coming. And it feels authentic. It feels real.
Snap before. So you're not doing it on this, the l'amour turning.
Not during
No,
the singing.
just before you sing the third.
Okay.
But that was good.
Okay.
Nobody notices them. No one will come up to like Pretty and say, "Oh, you move your hands wonderfully," or "You move so well." They will say, "Oh, you're such a natural actress. Oh, it's just so natural with you." Well, it hasn't been natural for her. She has learned, and as you could tell when I was directing her in Carmen, the movements that she was making are choreographed. And once I choreograph with her, and she does them enough, they become her own. And then they look so natural. And when my work is well done, nobody notices it. And that's when I know I've done a good job.
Such a spread. I told before, the low E must be like a middle top. E, not a E. And as you get up, to give more space and become a little E, but never
Okay.
E. Always focus.
Master classes are an unusual situation because you are up there singing your aria in front of a conductor or a composer or someone of great respect, and you want to impress people and you want to do a good job, but at the same time you want to learn from them what you can. And then it's in public. It's done in front of an audience. So master classes, you have to have a frame of mind where, okay, I'm going to take what I can from this. I'm going to be picked apart per se in front of a lot of people, but it's constructive, and it can only help.
If you say there is a certain sensation here for the women here. If you say a perfect E, this sensation is a little different. A little more concentrated, not just relaxed. E.
So I should feel the pressure here?
Exactly, but small, not really heavy pressure. E. Too much E. E.
I sang Una voce poco fa, which is my hardest aria, the one that I have a love-hate relationship with. And Meister Mueller helped me realize some things about my voice that I had not addressed before. And I didn't think that I was ready for, but he helped me trust myself. Throughout my vocal training, I have realized that my middle range and my passaggio, where the head voice and the chest voice blend, it has been a challenge to integrate that blend perfectly.
The perfect sound in the top, in the middle, and the low is always a mixed sound. Never too open and never too closed. And you have to work on being able to have both, and then to blend them. So if you say, it's a little vulgar, but it has also a lot of resonance. So just give a little of color to this open position, and it will become the sound.
So I shouldn't be afraid to drop into the chest like that.
But the chest...
I was not dipping into my chest voice as much as I could have. I've had this fear of pushing into my chest voice, which is not good for the vocal technique of a singer. And so I had thought, all right, well, I'll just stay away from it completely. But what Maestro Mueller did was he helped me realize that dropping into the chest voice and pushing in the chest voice are two different things. There's a very fine line, but I can find it.
Woman can have just must be put in a high position, must be kept high,
but we never pushed and never let it just drag. No, the position of the chest, but with support of the head voice.
Okay.
But I don't enter far in this because it's not my business. I will not be able to change or to teach you. But musically, I feel that this is a good sound, and I have the example of so many great singers who did and did not ruin their voice.
I think it's rare that you can take such a valuable experience from a master class. I feel that this is one of the best that I've ever done, and I was able to take something tangible away from it, and he really pinpointed a lot of things that I don't know I would have gotten from other master classes.
E 100 trappoli farò giocare, e 100 trappoli farò giocare, e 100 trappoli farò giocare, farò giocare.
It's rather like life in the minor leagues, you know. I mean, these are all professional singers. They're not yet at the point where they're ready to step out on a main stage and perform principal roles. But a number of them have been asked in the past to do small roles, compromario roles for San Diego Opera. Basically, it's a touring program with technical and musical nourishment insofar as training is concerned.
Now, in the version of La Boheme that you're going to see today, we've put dialogue in to sort of, because it's a condensed version of La Boheme. La Boheme is about a 3-hour opera. You're going to see about 45 minutes. We've taken the best musical parts out of it, we've taken the storyline, and we've put in some dialogue so we can connect the story and make it flow.
The Boheme workshop was devised to accompany the performance of La Boheme by the ensemble, specifically for middle schools and high schools, so that the kids could understand before they see the show what opera is. We thought that the workshop would be a way of having the kids discuss what opera is, what sung drama is all about, just introduce them a little bit to the form before they actually see it. And it's been quite successful.
Well, what we get is a group of young singers, professionals, who benefit the company by being available as a resource to perform for fundraising functions, to perform opera on the concourse, to go into schools and expand knowledge of opera to young people, to adults in many situations. So we get that resource available that, at the drop of a hat, can perform, as it were.
To get paid to do what we do is perhaps the best validation in the professional world that they trust us to do a good job. They're paying us to do the good job, and I think it elevates us to a new level of respecting our voices, respecting our technique, and knowing that we have a job to do. The thing about Mexico, it was a tough tour. I don't think we knew what to expect in terms of fatigue and the traveling. And a lot of the theaters that we were in, and one of the rooms that we did the Opera Fest in was very dusty. It was a very beautiful room, but most of us have allergies. And in fact, it was so bad that we were sneezing right up to the time that we would get out there to perform, and some of us had to stand outside of the room in between songs so that we could breathe fresh air. So it was very tough on us, and I didn't feel up to singing una voce at all, but I knew I have to do it. So I did it, and I felt okay about it, but I know I didn't do as good of a job as I wanted to, and I wasn't very happy with having to sing it under those conditions. But that happens, and that happened many times this year, and I learned how to get through it.
La vincerò, sì, l'inganno mio sarà, lo giurai.
I think that now I can approach the ensemble tour not with that small seed of doubt, can I do this? But now I wake up every morning and it's another day of work. I can do this. You know, I'm singing today. I'm singing every day, and it's not startling to me anymore. It doesn't frighten me, and I'm glad to find out that my voice can handle it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
After the ensemble season ended, me, Gay, and Jana all were singing in a contemporary opera at UCSD. It was called Tanya, and it's by Anthony Davis, who's a composer at UCSD. And this was by far the most difficult piece of music I have ever learned. I found it technically very challenging, vocally challenging. To learn the music, it was a long process. I really took a lot of time to learn it.
Yeah. Did you die? I'm so scared. Did you die? Yeah. Did you die? even more moving ahead is what he's asking for. Okay. Let's try it again. 166. Did you die in the Okay. They died.
They died. Up in smoke.
It was also getting recorded on Koch International, and we had a concert performance at UCSD. There were a few things about it. Some of the language in this opera is a little questionable, and it was difficult for me to get over my own reservations about singing that kind of language. It's an opera based on the kidnapping of Patty Hearst, and I was one of the kidnappers. And some of the language that we were singing as an ensemble was very harsh language, which reflected the situations that we were in. And when I first started singing it, I was blushing while I was singing. But as we got to learn it and everything, it's funny. It just started flying right off my lips because I was worried about the notes and the meter and, okay, I've got to come in on this entrance and don't be late here. And all of a sudden, oh, I'm singing it. It's not a problem. Okay, I guess I can do this. We had the concert performance, and then after the concert performance, we had 5 days solid of recording. And that was a new experience for me. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this project was to get that experience of being in a recording studio, doing a professional recording, and what that would be like. And it's hard. It's much harder than a performance. I mean, you do take after take. You'll be singing for a few hours solid. Sometimes the same thing over and over again. Maybe you're pounding away in a part of your range. You don't want to be sitting there constantly. Keeping up your vocal health during that time was very important for me. So I got a lot of valuable experience out of that, being in a recording studio, using microphones, headphones, coming out with those passages on command, take after take, let it be as inspired as the last time. So that turned out to be a good experience. But it was a difficult one. I didn't find the music easy at all.
A normal place. From ready and what? Sopranos are great ones who are starting from above and they're underneath. And what? Those aren't short and clean enough. Shorter and cleaner. And what? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you after the show. You have done a fabulous job. You worked very hard. You've had a wonderful product. You should be very proud of which you should.
Some of the ensemble, while they're here, also take part in chorus work. And they do that very willingly because what it does is augment their income, but it also gives them a chance again to get active on the stage. Everything for a singer is experience. It doesn't matter how great your voice is. You also need to know how to get around the stage, how to cooperate with colleagues, how to be there on time, how to wear the costumes, the makeup. So the combination of ensemble work and chorus work is very beneficial to very many of them.
I've been singing in the San Diego Opera Chorus for about 3 years now. Gosh, it's been that long. And this year I wasn't able to do all of the operas because of the ensemble schedule, which is fine because it's a lot of singing. It's something I really enjoy, and I found that the experience of being on stage with the principal artists, watching how they work during rehearsal, watching how the conductor works with them, interacts with them, has been a valuable tool in my progress, because I think it catapults you from the role of a student to you. All of a sudden you find yourself in the professional world. You're still learning, but you're at a different level where you feel that you're challenged by artists and singers who can give you something very valuable, which it is difficult to find in the studio because you don't have those role models and those people to work off of. I think it's helped me as a performer be aware of myself on stage. When I'm watching the principal artists, it's like an acting class in motion. And there's a difference in singing in a small room, on a small stage in front of people, to how you hold yourself when you're on a large stage, such as a 3,000-seat house, like the Civic Theater. And I find that I adjusted myself accordingly by watching the principal artists, other chorus members, the interaction of everyone on stage. And I feel like it has been invaluable in my progress. These past 3 years I've played a variety of roles. My first chorus job was as an extra chorister in Aida, and I played an Egyptian peasant. And I wore this costume that looked like a potato sack. Actually, I've been able to wear some really beautiful costumes. I was in Traviata, I was one of the gypsy women, and I got to wear the most beautiful ball gown. And then in Carmen, I was a gypsy. I think the most unusual was in Turandot, a Chinese peasant. The costumes we wore were very unique. But mostly, you know, you play either the townsfolk or a gypsy or someone to that effect. But it's been a lot of fun. When I look back at the year, there were a lot of positive side effects on me as a person, on my expectations of an opera career, on my technique, on the way that I interacted with colleagues. There weren't really any negative side effects. I think that I learned what I would consider to be negative is really just something that I think prepares me for the future, about the fatigue on the tour and singing 6 days a week, 2 performances a day. Those weren't really negative side effects. It was just, okay, this is the way the opera life is going to be, and it's a good thing you're finding it out now.
Truly, the change from the intelligent but timid woman who came in to talk about how she could have a career to the woman I saw in the ensemble was an extraordinary change. She had really grabbed every opportunity. She's taken control of her career in so many ways. She went off to Cleveland to sing with a company there and got wonderful reviews.
It was really actually very easy to choose her for our apprentice program. She sang beautifully and had a tremendous amount of presence and a tremendous amount of commitment to what it is she was presenting, and it was a great audition. It was easy to pick her. She's in the ensemble of Regina, which the way we do it features the members of our ensemble. Then she's doing the role of Tisbe in Cenerentola, which will be a lot of fun and really actually gets her out and doing a lot of work, because it's a very important role. Whatever they do in the San Diego program, which I certainly don't know the details of their program, both she and Jana Campbell Ellsworth, who came to audition for me, just were exceptional auditioners. I mean, obviously they had been prepared well.
She has continued to grow. She has not taken one backward step, and that's very exciting. Then with her experience at Cleveland Lyric, she came back with, all of a sudden a real solid technique and this rich characterization. The voice is a little deeper, a little richer, a little more powerful. The technique is even more solid. All of that given. There are 1,000 singers out there that you can say the same thing about. It's all going to be, I think, ultimately a matter of luck. Being in the right place at the right time, having the right record manager or the right general director hear her at the right time, having an agent hear her and be excited enough to push the career. But it's not a sure thing. The technique can be solid, the voice may be the most beautiful in the world, but the goddess of opera, all the things have to fall in place at the right time. And who knows whether that'll happen for her. This is one of the hardest professions in the world.
I just think it is a great pleasure to have had her as a student, and I want her to go on. I'm not the kind of teacher who says, oh, you've got to stay here and study with me. Oh, no. I want her to move on. I want to hear her at the Met.
Hopefully the doors will keep opening that will give her enough time to mature and grow in a healthy manner vocally and emotionally. I think you can have too much too soon. But she will bring something special I see her, she could very well have a big career.
It's just getting there.
I think she's destined.
And then as I watched her develop and we had some roles available to her, it was an obvious step to put this mezzo-soprano into a streetcar named Desire. And then I said to her, after that was all settled, as I was looking at casting the Magic Flute, I said to her, I want you to have a look at the second and third lady. Tell me which one you think you can sing, and then sing it for me. And she did. So she earned one of those roles. What she delivers is a good voice, a nice figure, nice face, but above all, a great deal of energy and intelligence. And I think general directors with judgment will buy into that very quickly.
I want all of you to know that we are offering Preeti and Daniel a contract for another year.
A huge surprise.
I'm coming back for the next season of Ensemble. And then along with that, I have some symphony gigs scattered throughout the year. And then Streetcar right after the Ensemble season is over next year. And then so I'll be doing something in between that and Magic Flute, hopefully. And then I'll come back for Magic Flute in 2001. So I can sit back and say, I'm a working singer. I can make my living doing this, and it feels great.
Guerriera vendetta farà, al lampo dell'armi questa ma guerriera vendetta farà.